Week 1 is the glorious bubble square, which is made out of very charming puff stitches, which are set on the background of double crochet stitches. So let me show you how it's made. For this square, I will be using the Perfectly Plum colorway of the ColourLab DK, which is beautifully rich color. It's absolutely glorious. We start our square by making 26 chains. Then we're going to work 1 double crochet, that's UK terminology, in US it will be single crochet, into the second chain from hook, and then 1 double crochet into every single chain to end. So that will give us 25 double crochets at the end. So after we finish all our double crochets, our work should look like this. Now what we're going to do is turn our work around. We're going to chain 1 and again work 1 double crochet into every single stitch to end. So starting with the very first double crochet at the base of our 1 chain, we're going to work 1 double crochet into every single stitch to end. And we're going to repeat that row 3 times. So altogether we will have 4 rows. So when we finish our 4 rows of double crochets, our work should look like this, and we have our right side facing for the next row. So now we are ready for our puffed stitches. So we're going to chain 1. So now we are going to work 1 double crochet into the next 6 stitches, starting with the very first one, the one at the base of our 1 chain. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and now we are ready for our puff stitch. Now we will enter our puff stitch into the stitch 2 rows below. So this is our one row below, and this is the one 2 rows below. So we will enter a puff into this stitch here. So our puff is half treble 5 together. For US, that's half double 5 together. We will go yarn around the hook, insert a hook into the stitch from 2 rows below, which is this one here. Grab your yarn and pull it through. Pull up a loop so it's in line with your current row. Then go yarn around the hook again into the same stitch. Grab your yarn and pull it through, and we repeat this 3 more times. So yarn around the hook, in, pull it through, yarn around the hook in the stitch, grab your yarn and pull it through, and 1 more time. And every time you do this, you pull up your loops into the same height as your current work. So now we should have 11 loops on our hook. So now what we are going to do, we're going to finish off our puff by going yarn around the hook and pulling through all those 11 loops on our hook. So gently, gently, you might just slide it through and make chain 1, so yarn around the hook and pull it through the loop on your hook to lock this puff in place. So it's nice and neat. It pulls it tight at the top here. So by working our puff, we have covered 1 of our stitches. So now what we have to do is work 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches, starting this one just next to our puff. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're going to work our puff stitch again. So again, into the stitch 2 rows below. So yarn around the hook, into our stitch 2 rounds below, grab your yarn and pull it through. Make sure you pull it to the same height as your current work so it's not too tight. And repeat this 4 more times. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's all together 5 times, and we should have 11 loops on our hook. So now we're going to finish off our puff by going yarn around the hook and pulling through all the 11 loops on our hook. So gently slide it through, then chain 1 to lock, and we are ready for our next stage. So again, once more, 1 double crochet into next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we are ready for our puff stitch again. So yarn around the hook, insert your hook into the stitch 2 rows below, grab your yarn and pull it through. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 11 loops on our hook. Now yarn around the hook and pull it through all 11 loops. Chain 1 to lock, and we should have at the end 6 stitches, exactly the same as at the front. So we're going to work 1 double crochet into next 6 stitches, into the last 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we should still have 25 stitches across our row, and we have now 3 gorgeous puffs. So now what we're going to do is turn around, turn our work around, chain 1 to give us the correct height, and then we're going to work 1 double crochet all the way along. But when we work in double crochet into our puff stitch, we work into the top of the chain 1 that we have used to lock our puff. So starting with the very first stitch at the base of our 1 chain, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and our chain 1 that we have used to lock our puff is this one here. See? So your puff has kind of 2 stitches, so you've got this one here and the first one. So we are going to work a double crochet into this chain 1. We're going to omit this stitch, and we are going to work 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again we come to our puff and we will work a double crochet into the top of the chain that we have used to lock our puff, which is this one here. See? So this stitch is kind of our puff stitch, but we don't want to work into this one. If we work into the chain 1 of our puff stands up straighter. It's a little bit it's placed a little bit better. So that's why we will work into the chain 1 that we have used to lock our puff. So it's this one here. Omit the stitch, the second stage of your puff, and work 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again we work in 1 double crochet into the chain 1 of our puff. Omit the stitch here, and we're going to work 1 double crochet into the last 6 stitches. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Turn your work, and our work should look like this now. So now we will work 4 more rows of just 1 double crochet into every single stitch to end. So now we've done our 4 more rows. So altogether we've got 5 rows in between our puffs. So now we are ready for our next row of, But this time we want our puffs to kind of lie in between the puffs from row number 5. So what we are going to do, we're going to start by 1 double crochet into next 3 stitches. So chain 1, 1, 2 and 3, and we will work our puff again into the stitch 2 rows below. So 2 rows below underneath our next stitch. So now yarn around the hook, insert your hook into the stitch 2 rows below, grab your yarn and pull it through, pull the loop up into the height of your current row, and repeat this 4 more times. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So that's all together 5 times, and we should have 11 loops on our hook. So yarn around the hook and pull it through all those loops on your hook. Chain 1 to lock, and now we are ready to move on to our next stage. So again, we have worked up half of our next stitch, so now we are going to work 1 double crochet into next 5 stitches. In 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And again, you see, so now when we are placing our puff covering our next stitch, it will be lying perfectly in between the puffs from row number 5. It will be perfectly positioned here. So again, yarn around the hook, insert your hook into the stitch 2 rows below, grab your yarn and pull it through, and do that 5 times all together. Eleven loops on hook, yarn around the hook and pull it through all 3. Chain 1 to lock, and we are moving on to our next stitch. So again, 1 double crochet into next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and we are ready for our next puff. So again, into the stitch 2 rows below, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, yarn around the hook and pull it through all those loops on our hook. Chain 1 to lock, and then 1 double crochet into next 5 stitches again. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and we are ready for our last puff of that row. So again, yarn around the hook into the stitch 2 rows below, pull it through and repeat this 5 times all together. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Chain 1 to lock, and we've got 3 stitches left, which is correct because this is what we started with. So we had 3 stitches at the beginning. So 1 double crochet into into the last 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. Then turn your work, and you are ready to work 1 double crochet into every single stitch and puff all the way to end. Remembering that when we working into our puff, we're working into the chain 1 and not the stitch next to it. So chain 1 to give you the correct height, and then 1 double crochet into next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2 and 3. You see, this is our chain 1 that we have used to lock our puff, and this is the additional stitch. We will work into this chain 1. So 1 double crochet into the chain 1. We're going to omit the next stitch because that belongs to the puff and we don't want to work into this one. And then 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And again, we are working into the chain 1. So that chain 1 we have used to lock our puff. Miss this stitch and then 1 double crochet into next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So now 1 double crochet into the chain that we have used to lock our puff, omit the next stitch and then 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. Again, 1 double crochet into the chain, omit the next stitch and 1 double crochet into the last 3 stitches. 2 and 3, chain 1, and now we are ready again. So we will work now 4 more rows of our double crochet. So 1 double crochet into every single stitch for 4 more rows, and that will be the end of our first pattern repeat. So when you finish those rows, your work should look like this. So row 5 to row 16 form a pattern repeat. So we need to repeat this 1 more time, then row 5 again, then work 3 rows of double crochets. So when we finish that, I've got one that I prepared earlier. A square should look like this. So now we are ready for our round 33, which takes us on top, around and back to top again. So to work round number 33, we will chain 1 as before, work 1 double crochet along the top edge. So 1 double crochet into every single stitch along the top edge. See, so that's a double crochet in the top edge. So now we have to work into the row ends of our square. We will chain 2 to give us a corner space. Then we will work 25 double crochets evenly all the way the side of our square. So we will working into the raw ends of our rows. So we will start like this. Let's work one here. So that's our first row. So 1, 2, so we're working into the side of our stitches. 2, 3. I will miss the next row, so I'll work my 3 double crochets. Then I will work 1, 2 and 3, miss the next row and then do 1 double crochet into the next 3 rows again. Miss this row, 1, 2 and 3, miss the next one, 1, 2 and 3, miss the following one, 1, 2, 3, again miss this one, 1, 2, 3, miss this one, and then I come to my last 4 rows. So I will miss this row here and then work 1 double crochet into the last 4 rows. Okay, again. So I come to my turn now. So now I will work into the back loops of my foundation chain. So I will chain 2 and work 1 double crochet into every single chain, well, the back loop of my chain. So that will be 25. And when we come to the end of that, our work should look like this. And then again, we're going to chain 2 and work again 25 double crochets evenly along the second side of our square. So as before, we will work 3 double crochets per 4 rows. So 1, 2, 3, miss the next row, 1, 2, 3, miss the next row, and 1, 2, 3. Do this until you reach your 4 last rows. So you will work 1 double crochet into the 4 last rows. And now again we come to our top edge. So again we will work chain 2 to give us a corner chain 2 space, and we will work 1 double crochet again into every stitch on our top edge. And when we finish, all we have to do is slip stitch to our very first chain 2 space that we have made. So slip stitch into this chain space and fasten off your yarn. So that's our bubble stitch made. Enjoy!